Okay, Google, restart video.
Hey everyone, Scott Innes, voice actor, Hollywood actor, movie star. Don't believe all that. I'm a legend in my own mind. Hey, you know me better as the voice of some of the most popular cartoon characters in the world. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, Scrappy-Dappy-Doo, Puppy Power, Blank and Shaggy too. And you've got the Sullivan Project podcast coming at you right now.
Hey, Google, stop. Hey, Google, turn your volume to 50%. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sullivan Project podcast. And of course, the phone don't ring all day. And then as soon as I go to record, we got some ringing. But besides all that, hope you all are having a high vibration, loving day. Remember, love is a choice and so is the hate. You control you. So it comes down to that, no matter what happens. As long as you are inside, make sure you're okay. Nothing can bother you. It's just very difficult to do that and to get that way. But we can work on that. It's called nirvana, I guess. Work on getting toward that. I wonder who that is calling now. I've been leaving messages for people because it seems like I'm the one person. Everybody has people that they call, or they know one person that everybody calls, right? But people don't call me a lot, so I call to check up on people. You know what I mean? It's all good though. When I need people, they're there. That's all that matters, right? As long as you got somebody that's calling you. But yeah, I'm Harold Sullivan. Welcome to the Sullivan Project podcast. And we'd like to talk about anything on here: supernatural, metaphysical, paranormal. Uh, see, metaphysical, paranormal, supernatural, spiritual, and then regular stuff: movies, TV, sports, life, entertainment, whatever. No judgments here. Uh, no negative. We try not to be negative. You should always love, and then at least learn and teach every moment. One of three things, in my opinion. At least love, and then learn and teach, because everything is always for something. All right. And I've come up with a new solism. Actually, I was talking to Danny. We hung out again, and he's always telling me about how greedy he believes his girl or ex-girlfriend is, and that she's all about money, and then of course people are yelling in the background. They don't believe in calling or walking. They actually like to yell up and down flights of stuff. Uh, Everything goes on in the evening, but during earlier in the day, uh, I'm not functioning enough to record. I don't know. And then at night I'm tired, so I just record when I can. You know what I mean? But yeah, Danny, we hung out again, and he says this girl just is all about money, and and I'm telling her, you can't, or telling him, you can't take it with you. Money's just green paper. It really isn't worth anything, because if something happens and the money's no good, then all the money people have will be worthless. So, uh, but anyway, I came up with a new soloism: a man isn't paid by the hour. Okay, so please share that. I appreciate it, because he says he believes it. She thinks that you're a man by how much you make, and blah blah blah. And of course, money has nothing to do with being a man. As long as you do the right thing and you take care of yours, that's a man. And you apologize when you make mistakes. You try to do the right thing. If you mess up, you know, that's a man, in my opinion. It ain't about how old you are, about how much you make, about how what size any of you is. None of that. So, but anyway, we gotta check that, write that out, or write that down, please. A man isn't paid by the hour. And if you want to check out previous soloisms I wrote, or other podcasts and music, and I'm actually trying to write a book if anybody wants to help. I've been blind 3 years, and I was born with an autoimmune disease, and I've been in a wheelchair since I was really young. So check out the podcast on YouTube and TikTok, Harold Sullivan 78, and on Facebook, Harold Sullivan period 35. And then you can email hs19782015 at outlook.com, and you can call 724-513-1472. If you want to be a guest, you can do audio or video, and just talk about anything. Get stuff out if you need to. If stuff happens to you, your pain is your strength, not your weakness. So just get it out, and it'll help, really. You know what I mean? It could be anonymous. You could just say whatever. Just talking really does help. I've been going through a lot of changes. And, you know, I'm 15th time now through the audio Bible in less than 3 years, or about 3 years, and a couple hundred other audio books. I'm just changing a lot and trying to do what I can. So I can't see anymore. So, but God or Spirit or whoever, however you want to say it, uh, has gotten me through, and that's what I'm interested in. Everybody has a story. You can't judge a book by its cover. So come on here and tell your story. You know, you might save somebody by something you say. You know, everything is very important. People don't have a clue how we're all connected, all is one. That's another syllogism that I've written. But yeah, everything is important, just like a blink of an eye, that quick. And we live and die in a blink of an eye. So you might not have later or tomorrow. There's no such thing as time in my universe. So it's all right now. So why wait, right? Do it now. Find that person that you miss, or find that person that you might have said something to, and you didn't mean to hurt them, and just apologize. You know, just try at least. So that's some of my advice. So we're gonna talk about ghost stories today and movie TV crossovers, and I got another bracket I started with best movie scenes. So a couple of different things here. Let's do the movie scenes first. I've talked about this on previous podcasts. Uh, so we got a couple categories. The newest category is best New York movie scene, and I'm looking for different things, not stuff that everybody would know or every big scenes. So as far as New York, right now I have the end of Ghostbusters where Ernie Hudson, Winston Zedmore says, "I love New York," something like that. When they're getting cheered on by all the fans, the Ghostbusters, and then in Jason Takes Manhattan, Friday the 13th Part 8. Uh, when Kane Hodder walks out in the whole Jason costume with the mask, and he's in, I think he was in Times Square, I can't remember. Or it was supposed to be Manhattan now, but he walks out, and then he says it was one of the coolest things he ever did as the Jason character, because they had everybody in the streets, and they told him to just show up people, so they had a crowd, and they were all just there watching Jason. That's just so cool. I can't imagine if I'd have been there just to see him out there, you know what I mean? Like, not even speaking, but just see Jason where he's live. Like, so I met Kane at a convention a few years back. So he's a very nice guy too. He's been close to death. And he actually has a book, and they did a documentary movie called "To Hell and Back" or something. Kane Hodder story. So check that out. So then we have best poop scene in a movie. Right now, I have one, and it's from Dumb and Dumber, and it's of course whenever Jim Carrey gives Jeff Daniels, he don't want him to go the girl that he's interested in. He don't want him to date her, so he puts a bunch of stuff in his hot chocolate, so the dude's on the toilet pooping, and it's just hilarious because you realize that he's just acting. And they probably add all the sounds in and stuff later, but he's pushing up and down the toilet. He's just and it's just funny. So if y'all have any suggestions for any of these weird things, let me know to add to the bracket. I got a couple other ones that I'm not sure if they'll fit because I'm looking for, like I said, I'll know it when I hear it. But Jurassic Park, there's a scene where the girl finds a big pile of poop and she wants to dig in it to find out what the dinosaur had been eating to see why it's sick. And then another poop scene. And there was a movie called Caveman back in the 60s or 70s with stop motion claymation animation dinosaurs. And I think Ringo Starr, one of the Beatles, was in there. And what's his name? From Jaws 3, Dennis Quaid in Inner Space. He was in that movie. That's a good movie where he goes inside this dude's body. They shrink him up. But Dennis Quaid is in, and they play caveman, and then one of the dinosaurs poops on the caveman. Something like that. It's a scene. So maybe one of those two scenes could go in the best poop scene. And then we have best fight, which is Roddy Piper and They Live. And then we have, see, best poop, fight, dance. Now, best dance would be, I have one in that category, and that would be from American Wedding, American Pie, the third movie, and that would be when Stifler is in the bar, gay bar, dancing, and it's hilarious, but it's the coolest dance scene. So I'm looking for different stuff. So we got those as far as that goes. And then I just got done with The Godfather, the book, 18 hours or so, Mario Puzo. And out of lots of books I've listened to, it is one of the best. I mean, I say that about a lot of them, but there's so many characters. I've never seen the movie When I Had Sight, but I got to get to it because I'm a godfather now to my two god babies, thanks to Danny V. And and I didn't know what a godfather was or what it really meant, or the movie. You know what I mean? All these years, and now I get it. I get the hype. I get the characters. You know, I love Nino and Fontaine and little Connie Corleone and of course Michael and then Don Vito. I never knew what that meant, Don Vito, when people mentioned that or referenced it. But the Godfather, I mean, he could be the Godfather like as a, you know, like a father Godfather, uh, almost an adoptive, but he could also be just a guy that takes care of people, you know. And like he says, you do me, I'll do you. But if I ever need you got to come through for me if you can. He won't ask you to do what you can't. And now it's changed me a little bit as far as I got a little bit more of an idea how to respect and how to do life just by the Godfather book. But Mario Puzo actually wrote Superman the movie, the screenplay, and lots of other good movies, and a couple other books which I haven't checked out. And he actually says most of the dialogue that the Godfather spoke was from his grandmother, like in real life. So pretty neat. And then the Godfather, the three movies were based off of one book. They just continued it on because the book is so big. I mean, it goes back and forth. There's so much good detail in the book, though. I mean, you get right in there. You just know exactly how the characters are, almost like what they are as people, and it jumps around in time back and forth because you get it goes back to current and then it goes back to show what leads up to it and stuff. So you kind of got to follow it a little bit, but very good book, The Godfather. Uh, hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, a man isn't paid by the hour three-way paranormal. Second, frequency Godfather.
Okay.
Third, Wolverine G.I. Joe Men and Black
Is it?
Batman versus
Hey,
Superman Flash
okay. So
Batman.
I talked about time travel recently, a couple different podcasts, and I'm going to do some more on that. And I just stumbled across that there was a frequency TV show for one season, which I didn't realize. But I mentioned a movie before, which is very good with Jim Caviezel and Dennis Quaid, I believe, right? Yeah, speaking of Dennis Quaid. But it's kind of a time travel movie. And then I didn't know they did a female TV or a TV show with a female version of the character for like in 2016 or so for like one season. It didn't last. So maybe one day if I can find it out, I'll check out the old episodes. But frequency, and then we got that, and then yeah, we're going to talk about some paranormal. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what
This
you
is how I
told
take
me.
notes now.
First, a man isn't paid by the hour three-way paranormal.
Hey Google, delete
Second,
the first one. I got that, and I got the Ziggy. That's how I tell time. Listen to
done. It's
books.
forgotten.
It's working a little slow right now. I've been having a lot of paranormal activity lately too, whatever you want to call it. So the equipment gets affected. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, freak.
Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, frequency Godfather. Second, Wolverine G.I. Joe Men
Hey
and
Google,
Black
delete the
Batman.
first one.
Done. It's forgotten.
Okay. And then we're going to get into the ghost stuff last. We're going to talk about the crossover TV show movies. And these are ones that had like TV shows with crossovers of two TV shows together or the same with movies. So I'm just thinking of different categories and on stuff people might not know. Let me go back to the first one that I can think of would be the Batman TV show from the 60s that had the Green Hornet crossed over. And the Green Hornet, I think, only did like one, maybe two seasons. So did Batman. But it was a good episode. It was more of a serious episode, but it was cool to just see them two working together. So go check that out if you're a fan of Batman or the Green Hornet. And then we had, of course, Scooby Doo, the original cartoon Scooby Doo, Where Are You? Had lots of cameos. I mean, you had Batman on there. you had the Three Stooges on there. You had pretty much lots of stars. The Globetrotters were on there. I mean, from the 60s and 70s, and before that, lots of stars that showed up in the cartoon. And then, let's see here. People didn't know there's a Simpsons Family Guy episode crossover. And then if you go into Supernatural, they actually did a Scooby Doo crossover, I think in season 13, called Scooby Natural, which they were rumoring to do for a long time. And people were saying that'd be so cool to do like a crossover. And they actually did it. So, and years before that, there was a rumor to actually have Jason from Friday the 13th in Supernatural. And as far as I know, it got all the way to where they were going to do it, and it didn't happen. And so I didn't get to ask Kane Hodder. I should have asked him at the convention when I met him about that. But maybe next time I get to ever speak to him again. If he was contacted to be Jason, you know. But they never did that episode. Instead, that episode turned into Dream a Little Dream, and it had a guy killing people in their dreams, kind of like Freddy, you know. But they did have like a Jason bobblehead doll in the background of one of the Supernatural episodes after that, I think. So that's about as close as we get. Uh, hey, Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, Wolverine G.I. Joe Men in Black Batman versus Superman Flash Spider-Man.
Okay.
Second, Green Hornet Scooby-Doo Murder, She Wrote Supernatural Family Guy.
Hey, Google,
Third,
delete the second one.
Done.
Murder, She Wrote, and Magnum P.I. did a crossover. And I liked both those shows. And they were totally different. But somehow it worked. So check that out if you're a fan of either one of them. I think that was like late 80s, maybe. Hey, Google, what did I want you to remember? Hey, Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, Wolverine G.I. Joe Men in Black Batman versus Superman Flash Spider-Man. Second, Best New York Kiss Poop Fight to Dance Crossover. Third, Poltergeist came hotter Esther
Okay.
Hicks Chris Williams.
Yeah, I get some more books I got to get. Poltergeist, I can't find out whether there was a book or movie first. So let me know if y'all know any of that. Anybody. Share, comment, message, whatever. Okay, so, and then we have movies now we're going to get into. Batman versus Superman, of course, it was a crossover movie. And then you have The Flash. He goes back in time, or other dimensions, I guess. So that's kind of Flash where he meets the Michael Keaton Batman. Spider-Man No Way Home, same thing happens, and they start bringing in other universes of characters. So, which was really good. I don't know how they got all the rights to all the Spider-Mans and all that. It's just amazing what they can do now with these characters, you know. Hey, Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, Wolverine G.I. Joe Men in Black Batman versus Superman Flash Spider-Man.
Hey, Google, stop. Okay, and then you have Wolverine, Deadpool now, which actually has Channing Tatum playing Gambit. He's been rumored to want to be a Gambit for a long time. And then you have, I believe in there, Johnny Storm is back, and it's Chris Evans, who played Captain America later. And then there's Elektra is back as well. So this is more crossovers that they're doing here. And speaking of Ryan Reynolds, years ago there was rumored to be a Jump Street 21 Men in Black crossover. Or not speaking of Ryan Reynolds, speaking of Channing Tatum, I should say, because he's in that movie. He's always wanted to be Gambit too, but I don't know how he got to be Gambit now. But you know what I mean. But anyway, yeah, there was rumored to be that whenever the Sony leaks got leaked out, emails in 2014, it got put online that Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill wanted to do the movie, but it never got made. Now there's actually a new Men in Black untitled project to start shooting next year, so maybe they're going to actually do the crossover. They'd have to bring one up and one down, you know, because of the way the movies were, but I think it could mesh. They did it right, because they ruined the Men in Black with that international. That was crap. That was like a worse straight to DVD. There ain't even straight to DVD anymore, because the TV movies are good now, you know, they're streaming. So I don't know, but yeah, that's one that did not happen. And of course, you got Freddy versus Jason, Alien versus Predator, but these are not really good ones. I'm trying to mention ones that were the best, you know. G.I. Joe's actually coming out with G.I. Joe Transformers they were talking about for years. And if you watch the end of Beast, Transformers Beast, Rise of the Beast, you'll get a little. I didn't even watch that movie because after the first few Transformers, I was like, But I liked the Bumblebee. That was my favorite one. But yeah, there's a little cameo there, I guess. But I don't know. Again, they're a little late on G.I. Joe. They kind of ruined G.I. Joe. They haven't done G.I. Joe or Transformers right, in my opinion. In the 80s, that was the thing. Same like He-Man, you know what I mean? That Dolph Lundgren movie is iconic, but it was crap, you know. Hey, Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, Wolverine G.I. Joe Men and Black Batman versus Superman Flash Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Second, best New York kiss poop
Hey,
fight to
Google,
dance cross.
stop. So I think that's pretty good for the crossover movies and TV shows. Trying to see if I missed any. Uh, you know, there's Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. I mean, there's but that's pretty good. And we're gonna talk about a little bit about true ghost stories. Okay, I'm gonna talk about two of the most uh, profound experiences I've had, and then see if anybody can explain or has had similar incidences to these other couple of things. Okay, so the first thing I had happen was years ago. I was probably in my early 20s. I mean, this was like the first profound thing, and I had a friend, and I used to go down the street outside, sit outside because they had steps I couldn't go in all the time unless they lifted the wheelchair up in there. And then one night we're out on the porch. They lifted the wheelchair up on the porch. It was like 2 o'clock, and it had just rained. It was warm out, sunny or not sunny, but hot summer, probably 70 something, 80 degrees. And we're looking across the street. Now these people always joked. There was a woman, her mom. They were all adults too, and her child, and her mom's boyfriend. So it was like all of us outside, right, on the porch. And they always joked about how their houses were haunted. They lived two doors apart, the mother and the daughter. And of course, I got to be convinced, and I never was, right? Even though one time the van started up by itself out there, but you could automatically start things. And one time, I kid you not, she used to have like a candle in the window at her house. She was never there though. The lady, we'll just call her. I guess I'll say Annie's her name. Well, might as well, right? But we'll call her Annie. And people were just at night walking by and just stopping and looking at something in her window. And she said it was a red face. I didn't look. I just went by and just left and went home because I didn't want to see. You know what I mean? At that point. So just things like that happened and weird things. She'd show me pictures like of a stain on the wall in her basement that looked like a bad face, something you wouldn't want to see. And you know what I mean? So one day at 2 o'clock, yeah, we're sitting out there and I'm looking across the street, right? So in front of her house, you have like a sidewalk and then there's a street and then there's a little parking lot with woods behind it. And in the woods, I could see from across the street. I kid you not. First, it started off with like these 3 or 4 glowing orbs of different sizes, like spinning globes. They looked like, and I could tell they were spinning because I could see through them, and they were like smoke though. You know, they weren't. It wasn't a consistent color, but because the street light, there was a street light right above it too. So at this point, I'm trying to, in my mind, like maybe steam is coming off the ground. It's warm and just rain. Anything I can do to explain what I'm seeing here. And this whole thing went on for 45 minutes to an hour or so, but it felt like there was no time. Like we were all just there. Nobody spoke. We just stared, you know. And then from there, and they were different heights too. They weren't like in a straight line. Like one was lower than the other, you know what I mean? And one was a little higher. Like they were just floating there above the ground a few feet. And probably basketball size from across the street is what they looked like. And then a doorway was there. Now I don't remember how the transitions were if these things just appeared, but it was a doorway. Again, looked like smoke, same like in the movies, ghosts. How they look like a clear. And I only remember two sides and the top. I don't remember the bottom of the doorway. It was like a frame, though, like a real, just like a doorway that you would walk through. And then I could see a man and a woman because uh, when they were dancing, it looked like a dress, like moving in the wind from across the way. I couldn't make out facial features or anything. But from out of the doorway came, yeah, a man and a woman. They were dancing. And I didn't believe what's going on here because I'm watching this and I'm thinking,
Notification from Outlook. New
Sirius XM.
Oh, wow.
Don't forget your $1
We got a Sirius XM.
for 12
They're
months
still trying to
offer.
send me a thing because I quit using them a while ago.
This is our best
But,
streaming offer view in a web browser. Our
so I'm
biggest
trying to
savings
explain. I'm
ever
like,
for
well,
a
what
year
is
of
this in my
streaming,
mind? What's going on
60% off
here?
what you get
You
with
know?
the All Access.
So I asked the
That
lady,
only.
Annie, I said,
Plan the right
you know, I
audio
snapped
for
out
every
of it
moment. Music,
for a second.
talk,
And I said, hey,
podcasts,
go over there, go across the street, just
action.
make noise, jump up and down, you know what I mean?
Window.
Because at this point, it's so unbelievable that I'm thinking somehow we got Hollywood down here and there's a projector, you know, but there's no way they could have did this. It was just too, it was so real. But anyway, yeah, she goes over and starts to, you know, dance and make noise. And she said she couldn't see them once she got away from the house, like the closer she got. But they went back in the doorway, and I could see, and they were just peeking out like on the two sides, like one on one and one on the other. But when they were behind it, you couldn't see them. You could only see like parts of them peeking out. So they must have been intelligent. At least those were. And she comes back across the street, and we continue watching. And from there, I see look like little kids playing on the ground or something, messing around, doing stuff. And then after that, I remember seeing these people with like big buckets or something they were carrying down from the woods on their head. And years later, somebody told me there used to be a creek back there that was all dried up. I never went back and investigated it or even took a K2 meter, but I was wanting to. You know, now I've lost my sight, but I got the story though. You know what I mean? So we all saw this stuff, and then the next day, I got online and found this website, which I think was Ghost Hunters before they were Ghost Hunters, because it was two guys in a van traveling around. And I told them my story, and they said just go online and put it on our blog. And they said something in the air when it rains, and there's different things, and they were trying to say it's more likely to have this and that happen. And I just want answers, you know, but they couldn't give me any. So, and I was like, this is a once in a one time thing. I kind of believe, but I don't really. And then when I get my apartment in like 2007, I'm living alone. Uh, I get a K2 meter I bought, you know, because of all the ghost shows and that. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just get it. If it don't do that, it don't do nothing. And I kid you not, the first time I turned it on in my living room, I was alone in my apartment. I turned it on and then backed up and asked questions. Hey, is anybody here? You know, et cetera, et cetera. I only love and light or whatever. Oh, I didn't say love and light back then, but I said I only allow, you know, positive. And anybody wants to make communication, you know, and then it started lighting up. And I literally cried. I teared up and I went in and called my sister. Said I just put on the K2. And when that happened, though, something came over me to prove to me that there was more. You know, when I just felt it. And then I didn't mess with it for a while. And then I spent like 5 or 6 years in that apartment trying to figure out am I crazy or not, because I had all kinds of things happen. And check out old videos for that stuff. So those are on my YouTube and TikTok and Facebook. But those are old. Those are two profound things that happened to me, and to me they're real. You know what I mean? And so let's check out and talk about these other things. I want to know if anybody's had this stuff happen to them. All right. Uh, First of all, time travel photos. On Halloween, we took pictures one time, and I got them up called Real Ghost Pictures, I believe. They're on Harold Sullivan 78 or just my old TikTok or my old YouTube, Harold Sullivan. But you can find them. And it looked like charts on the walls and different things that were not in my living room when we took the pictures. And there's even a couple other things that show up in the photos. So I didn't know it was possible, but is it possible to take a picture of how something used to be? Because then I found out that someone told me it used to be a doctor's office in that building, and the living room was the little lobby. And see, I lived in it. It was an apartment, upstairs and downstairs, so it was renovated after that. But it was like a small doctor's office.
Finished loading.
I guess in the 70s or 80s, maybe. So time travel, okay, and then we have what else here? One time I did videos, and this is I believe it's in is Ambridge Haunted, Ambridge, Pennsylvania. Is Ambridge, Pennsylvania Haunted Part 2. Should be online. And we were in the alley, I think it was the second one, checking out some stuff. And the conversation I was having uh, with the person who was investigating with me, Birdman, we used to call him, our words ended up being different when I played it back. It's like our words were dubbed over with the same voice, though, our voices, but the conversation wasn't what we were saying. So I can't explain that either. I had never heard of any of this on another show as far as that and the time travel pictures. And then the third thing is the portal. Has anybody ever seen anything like that or heard of it? A doorway literally looked like three sides to a doorway. They were smoky white, clear. You could see through them like they were fluctuating. They weren't solid, like I don't know. So this is all real though. True ghost stories by Harold Sullivan, and most of what exists we do not see. I'm open to it more now, and I'm becoming more open. So I appreciate y'all though. Remember, like I said, love's a choice and so's the hate. You do what you do, but you also have to realize everything has a cause and effect. So if you don't love unconditionally, you ain't gonna get it. If you hurt and hate people, then you're gonna get hurt and hate. So it's hard to flip it, but flip it and do whatever you can to feel better. But only a good things. Don't put bad things in your body because you might think you feel good at that moment, but you're gonna end up feeling worse later. And that's what the tricky thing is. So I appreciate y'all though because each breath is precious, and that's going to be at the end of my book. If anybody ever reads it, because you can't get back this moment. You know what I mean? Once it's gone, it's gone. For this exact copy of this life. So, but yeah, remember, uh, every everything is always for something. All is one. Praise always. These are some Sullyisms for y'all. The truth unchanges. Faith equals justice. All right. Believe in you, if anything else. You know what I mean? So I'll be back shortly. We'll get some guests on here. Like I said, if y'all want to be on, let me know.